Hello, Hilary here again. I thought I'd say a few words about texturing hammers. I've wanted a set of texturing hammers for some time now, and for me the big choice was between the separate texturing hammers that you see on the Cooks and Gold catalogue page 448. They're very nice hammers, they're double-headed, and there are quite a number of them. Or, for me, I could have chosen the Beadsmith texturing hammer, which is a single hammerhead on a shaft, and a set of 12 texturing what I like to call buttons. I went for this option for the reason that in my workroom space is at a premium, and I don't really have the space to store this many tools. So here it is, the Beadsmith texturing hammer. The head has a very good heft. It's quite a nice heavy hammer, but not so heavy that it's going to hurt your wrist with long time use. It comes with a set of 12 texturing heads, and here are some of them. There are 2 on the hammerhead itself and another selection down there. Another 10 here. Texturing, and these ones, the steel, which are the hardest and therefore is likely to leave marks on metal, brass, which are the medium hardness and would help you remove blemishes from metal, and these very hard plastic ones which are softer and will help you again remove marks from metal, or you use it for shaping when you don't really want to mark the metal you're working with. The tool works this way. These ends twist off. It is a collar that twists off, and it's on a thread, and you see both ends are the same. You unscrew this collar and the little texturing button, as I like to call it, falls out. It's on a lip here. When you put it on, when you exchange it for that, they're all the same, they're all made the same way. You put it back into the ring, make sure that it's really pushed through so that it stands proud of the collar itself, and then it gets screwed back on. Now, I've found sometimes that this thread is a bit dry and it makes it a bit fiddly to get the ring back onto it. So what I have taken to doing is using some beeswax. This is also available from Cooks and Gold, and what you do is you just wipe very gently a little bit of this beeswax onto the thread. You don't want so much that the thread gets gummed up with it, just enough to leave a trace which helps to lubricate those threads, and it makes it much easier, I think, to screw the collar back on again, like that. Tighten it down and you're ready to go. Now, when I do texturing, I use a Beadsmith block, a rubber block, solid rubber block, and a Beadsmith bench block. The purpose of the rubber block is to absorb the shock from the steel block and also to cut down the amount of noise that you make when you're hammering. It also means that you're hammering onto a surface that doesn't bounce. If you hammered onto a surface that bounces, you're not going to get a very good texture. So I brought back some samples of copper from my jewellery class. These pieces of copper have been annealed to make them softer and therefore more willing to take texture. So on this, for the purposes of this video, I have put on 2 heads that look similar but aren't. They're both concentric rings, but both of them give different looks. This is a narrow ring and this is a broader ring. So let's try the narrow ring first. Keep your fingers out of the way, you don't want to texture your fingers. And you keep bashing away at it until you get the density of texture that you're looking for. The narrow ring leaves these little semicircular indentations. if you change the direction in which you hammer and hammer on top of those, you get a more complex texture. Similarly with the broad concentric rings, they are also going to leave semicircular indentations. You carry on hammering until you get the density of texturing that you're looking for, changing the direction and hammering on top of a previously hammered texture gives you a more complex and more dense texture. Now, it's a very good idea. It's a very good idea to get yourself some samples of copper and try out the different textures. I've done that here. So this very spangly look is achieved with the ones with the little pips on the top. The little hash marks leave that sort of impression. This intensely sequined look is made by that head, and these straight lines give this sort of texturing. Of course, having hammered your metal, you've now work hardened it, so if you need to do anything else to it, it needs to be re-annealed. I'm very, very thrilled with this piece of equipment. I'm very glad I made the decision I made, and I would highly recommend anybody else who's looking for texturing hammers to consider buying this. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll come back again next time with another one.